Green. After Basil the Blind came the real man who expanded Moscow's power, Ivan III, later known as Ivan the Great. First, he asserted Russian independence from the Mongols and stopped paying tribute to the Khan, after the Khan had named him Grand Prince, of course. Then, Ivan purchased, negotiated for, or conquered multiple appanages, thus expanding Muscovite power even more. Ivan later declared himself sovereign over all Russians and then married the niece of the last Byzantine emperor, thus giving him even more legitimacy, and he took the titles autocrat and Tsar, which means Caesar. Basically, Ivan created the first centralized Russian state, and for doing that, he probably deserves the title the Great. And that would be a great place to stop, except then we wouldn't see the kind of absolute rule that characterized Russia for most of the rest of its history, even unto Putin. Oh God, I'm just kidding, Putin. You would never rig an election. No, please don't put me in jail. While Ivan III consolidated Muscovite power, the undeniably brutal streak in Russian governance comes not from the Mongols, but from Ivan IV, better known as Ivan the Terrible. Ivan the Terrible ruled from 1533 to 1584, taking the throne at the age of 16. Yet more evidence that adolescents should not be trusted with emerging empires. Ivan the Terrible's reign represents the end of princely power and the beginning of the autocracy that Russia is famous for. But in the beginning, he was really an innovative leader. As a young king, he worked with a group of advisors called the Chosen Council, which certainly sounds like a good thing. He also called the very first meeting of the Zemsky Sobor, a grand council of representatives similar to the Estates General that would become so important in France 200 years later. And he reformed the army, emphasizing the new technology of muskets. But in the second part of his reign, Ivan earned his nickname the Terrible, which can mean either bad or just awe-inspiring, depending on your perspective. Psychological historians will point out that things started to go terribly wrong with Ivan after the death of his beloved wife, Anastasia Romanov, or they might point to the fact that he enjoyed torturing animals when he was a kid. Regardless, Ivan set out to break the power of the nobility, the former princes and landowners called the boyars. They were the last link to princely rule, and after an odd episode that saw him briefly abdicate, Ivan returned to Moscow and declared that he had the right to punish all traitors and evildoers. To help him in this effort, Ivan created the Oprichniki, a corps of secret police who rode around on black horses wearing all black, whose job it was to hunt down and destroy any enemies of the Tsar. See also Nazgul and Dementors. So this was the first of Russia's purges, and over the latter half of Ivan's reign, whole towns were destroyed. It was in effect a civil war, except with no resistance. One historian called it a civil massacre. In the end, Ivan the Terrible established absolute control of the Tsar over all the Russian people, but he also set the precedent of accomplishing this through terror, secret police, and the suspension of law. And that would echo through the ages of Russian history. I mean, until Vladimir Putin heroically put an end to it. His little eyes. They're scary. So hence the stereotype of Russian brutality